What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Puff Drink Talk podcast. Conrad here.
Dylan.
Hilton.
George.
Jose Cavazos.
And our special guest, Jose. Jose, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Jose, would you like to give yourself a little introduction? Tell us a little bit about what you do, where you come from, and tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Jose Cavazos. I am the owner of Hook 'em Up Moving. We are a locally owned and operated moving company providing relocation services to anybody in the Central Texas area. We are licensed to go out of state, so whether they're going from California or they're coming back from New York, we can help them out. We're also providing junk removal services, packing, moving, storage, you name it. Based out of Leander, been in business 4 years now. So just doing our best to help anybody out that we can.
Awesome. Well, you're definitely in the right area for the moving business.
That's for sure. I mean, it's been a booming area. I know a lot of markets in the area or in the U.S. aren't as good as Central Texas, but this area is definitely doing good.
Yeah. I myself am a transplant from California, born in Seattle, but lived in California basically my whole life. And then I came out here, it was going on 8 years ago. Sold all of my possessions at the apartment that we were staying at, and I rented a U-Haul U-Box. Whatever I couldn't fit in that, I threw into the back of my FJ Cruiser and threw my kid in the back, my wife in the front, and we just drove from San Diego on out here, man. So, but yeah, I definitely passed more U-Hauls and moving company trucks and probably passenger vehicles getting the heck out of California and coming out this way.
Well, the funny thing is half of those U-Haul vehicles that you saw were probably movers, but they were just the unlicensed movers.
Yeah, probably. So, but yeah, I'm definitely one of those that transplanted out of here. My folks did, my brother and his wife. So it's a busy happening area around here.
It is, and we won't hold it against you from being from California. My Texas blood still accepts you. I've got family.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah,
I got family in Oxnard. I got family in San Diego. So,
okay.
We travel over there as much.
Right.
Oddly enough, it actually costs you more to get a U-Haul to go from California back to here than it does from Texas to go to California.
You go out there, yeah, yep. I've heard that too. No, and it's funny because I've got a good buddy, love him to death, but I've been trying to convince him to get out of here. Or to get out of San Diego and move out here. And he bought a townhome during the pandemic, so of course he got like a killer interest rate. But he's outgrowing it. He's got a kid, and they're evolving or upgrading their life, and they're putting an offer in to buy a house in San Diego. I won't name the area, but $720,000. For a house that was built in the 60s, 1,100 square feet.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like biting my tongue because I've already been through the spiel of like, dude, look what you can get for way less money. But, I'm just hoping the best for him if that's what, him and his family want and that's what they're going for, then albeit. But I mean, I was just looking at the house and I'm going for a, I think it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 1,100 square feet for $720,000.
My next door neighbor did the same thing. She was in East LA, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot. 1.2 million is what they sold for over there.
Jesus Christ.
Came over here, and that was 2008, 2009, whenever we first moved to Leander.
Yeah.
And she moved in maybe 2010, 2011. Still sold for 1.2. Bought that house over here in Leander for $250,000. Bought a car, paid off her credit cards, put money away for grandchildren, and whatever else, and living her best life.
Smart decision. That's the way to do it. Unfortunately, when I came out here, I came out California poor and Texas poor by standards. So I wasn't those types that are like buying houses left and right and buying the whole neighborhood or anything. Like, yeah, I sold my one house in LA or San Diego, and now I can afford this whole neighborhood. No, I just came out here dirt poor. So that's the only caveat asterisk that I say, like, yeah, I'm from California, but I was poor when I came out here. So
yeah. Well, Austin pricing isn't much different than California nowadays anyway. So
nowadays, well, yeah, it's crazy.
We all declare our love for Texas, right?
Absolutely.
But
oh yeah,
we shouldn't throw such as shade on California, man. It's a great place. California is a great place. I mean, natural. If you're talking about naturally speaking, it's a big country on itself. It's bigger than Italy. It's bigger now than Germany, right? Mm-hmm. And Japan. So it's like the fourth economy, third or fourth economy in the world. So it's just that politics in every big state, main state, California is the main state, I would say that. So of course that things would happen more extremely there too. So we also have to remember that property tax is way cheaper. You have to put that in perspective. So that pushes down. If you think about living 30 years there, 30 years paying much less taxes. Sure. Property taxes. Because on the other hand, you're going to have federal taxes, right? You're going to have other
state taxes.
You're going to have state taxes and other taxes that they have in there. But you also have to compare salaries. If you compare salaries in California are easily 30% more than here.
For sure. I mean, minimum wage is what, $15 an hour?
Yeah. And I don't know anyone that makes less than 20. I don't know anyone.
Well, and they just passed in LA that hotel workers and some service industries hourly pay is $30 an hour in the city of LA. So,
which I totally understand. It's LA, New York.
Sure.
And you can't apply. I think we make a mistake to compare cities, different. Like look at the connectivity that New York has, man. No other city in the world has the same connectivity that New York has.
Sure.
No other city in the world. Maybe China, maybe Tokyo. I would say max.
Right.
The amount of money in only one place, and how they reinvest in the city, the love they have for the city. It's just that politically, we kind of think it sucks, those cities, the state of California and the city of New York. But they're great places, man. Sure. I mean, if I compare, I would pick New York every day, any day, than London.
We did our honeymoon in Buffalo, and so we did, Niagara tour,
State
Maid of the
York,
Mist,
yeah.
and I mean, beautiful. And outside of the Big Apple, I mean, everything about New York was beautiful. We were there in the middle of March, and they were telling us, "Oh my God, it's so hot! It's just the worst weather we've ever had." I'm from Texas, so 85 and humid, and for me, it's like, this is beautiful. I want to take my shirt off. I want to move here forever.
My habitat.
Yeah.
Right. But
Sure.
I think we've got to put it in perspective. All their turbulent moments and politics. We're still in the West. I'm still here. And I wouldn't change it. Sure. I wouldn't change it unless it gets extreme, way more extreme left and right. So we love Texas, sure. But come on, you live there for...
Yeah, so I grew up in Northern California in the foothills, a small town just outside of Sacramento, close to Reno, Lake Tahoe area. Mm-hmm. So I got the whole small town. It was an old gold mining town. Basically, a guy was walking down one of the main streets during the gold rush, 1849, 1850, kicked a rock, turned around pissed off, grabbed the rock, and it was like a 5-pound gold nugget. So he went in, became an instant millionaire, and then, it kind of blew up into a boom town and then never died away. It's just a small town that looks exactly like most of the forest there looks like Hilton's wallpaper. The redwoods is very beautiful, especially for having kids and growing up. Mm-hmm. Shit, I was outside, shooting arrows, playing golf, riding ATVs, dirt bikes, all the good healthy stuff you do, growing up in the country. But then, when I joined the military, I went down to San Diego, lived in LA, San Diego for quite a bit, for a couple years and stuff. So long story short, George, when you say about California, it is the most beautiful state. And I visited a lot of states here in the United States, and every state has a certain part of it that's beautiful.
Amazing.
Utah's beautiful. Idaho is beautiful. Washington State is very beautiful. They all have certain uniqueness to it, but California has a little bit of everything. You go up in the north, you have the redwoods. That's otherworldly with the wood, the woods there. You go down south, you can go into Death Valley, you can go into Coachella, you can see the desert, which I love desert. I think desert has its own unique beauty. And then you can go to the coast in San Diego, LA, and get a lot of the coastal vibes. Beautiful there too. Go up to San Francisco. So diversity, environmental diversity, California is, I mean, probably as, I mean, more diverse than a lot of other countries, you know, all in one state.
No wonder they're so big.
Well, and it's like, again, in San Diego, I started my day off. I was surfing in the morning. By the afternoon, we went up to Big Bear and we were snowboarding.
Yep.
You know, 2-hour drive where, you know, we're playing in the snow. And just before that, I was, you know, shirt off, swimsuits, surfing with dolphins.
PB is cold though.
Huh?
PB is cold.
PB gets, PB does get cold, but
It is unusual to have it, to experience the Pacific.
Yeah.
It's a different experience.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
also, it's the only. Tell me who else enjoys so much the shore of the Pacific as California does. Maybe Vancouver, I would say, because in Mexico, it's I don't. Would you call that Pacific? How is that the beaches on that side? It's more in the Gulf, right?
Yeah, more Gulf, more dirty water. Just
You understand, like,
Yeah.
so California has the privilege because the coast of Chile, they can't, it's hard to access that because of the mountains, right? And then Colombia, just a part of Colombia, enjoy that. Panama, what else? So California has this benefit too, geographically also, whatever it happens, it's almost falling apart. It was almost, getting out of the politically and physically to the land, So it is a state.
Well, going back to what to what he said, we got Texas, and yes, you have beaches, but you take Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico beaches comparative to Pacific beaches, or even Florida beaches outside of the coast. When
Yes.
you're going down into Tampa, into Miami, I mean, there's just beautiful blue water. Pacific Beach, beautiful blue water. You go down to Galveston, you go to Port A, not so much great water. Yes, you can get cold, you can go snowing, and maybe like Amarillo going up towards Rio Doso, but you're snowing. You're leaving Texas at that point. So you're not really in Texas. So to go back to your point, you can literally get the best of everything within one state.
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, and that's it. And I mean, it was a lot of it cost of living, political driven decisions that it was like I just can't afford to live there. That's why we made the decision to come out. So, which is unfortunate, but there's a lot of other great states here in the United States. Besides California, what would be another state that you appreciate and put up on like your, I guess, other state if you had to leave Texas?
I
and
lived in
live?
Chicago for like 14 months, 2 times, right? Like 8.5 months, then 6.5 months. And man, I lived in just like in an area like Round Rock is, or Oak Park. I loved it. I loved it. The 100-year-old houses, really well treated, green everywhere. Where I was living 10 miles from downtown, So, was pretty good. I love the experience. It's very different. It's very cold. It gets insanely cold because it's flat.
Right.
But
Hey,
the way
Dylan has a hiccup going on right now. And it's just like jumping there.
Anyway, so yeah, I would definitely live in Chicago.
Yeah. Okay.
I would definitely live there, around Chicago at least,
That's hard for me because my Texas blood, anything it's 60, 65,
Yes.
I'm cold. I need hoodie. I need
I know.
sweatpants on, everything.
That's
so
true.
It's hard for me to say where I could comfortably live in. But traveling the country for what we do, Montana, some of that like upper panhandle of Idaho. I mean, it's just so beautiful over there. Way of life is a lot different than mainstream Austin city living.
Yes.
I remember a few years back we did a job up to panhandle of Idaho, and I took my son with us, and he's like, "Why is everything so cheap here?" It's like, well, big guy, the cost of living is different, the way of life is different. And so when we looked it up, I think the whole major city's population was 30,000 or 40,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we have that in our town of Leander.
Yeah.
Double, triple that, and that's their entire biggest city in the state. Like, so yes, the way of life is different. It's a whole different thing. But I
Yeah,
mean, just those areas were beautiful.
For sure. I mean, and now it's growing so much more, right? So all this growth that we can see here, where we are. So I'm in Round Rock. So in Leander, and Leander is just like exploding. Georgetown is getting, it's already a big area though. In Round Rock and Georgetown, Leander, but it's just like houses and houses and houses being built. And Dylan can say, because he was a kid in Leander, right? He went to school over there, and it was completely different than what it is right now. You drive in there now, and you have traffic jams and whatnot. Baghdad Road. It's like you gotta keep on the speed because the police officers in there, they do stop you.
It's funny because I'm in Leander, and I remember we moved out there 2008, and we were one of the first houses in Summerlin, which is right there, 183, 29, or Sewer Junction. Mm-hmm. And the builder's like, yeah, it's going to be about another 10 years before you have real development out here. It's not going to really grow. It's kind of out in the rural area. You're not going to have much. So, like, okay. It was like 2-3 years later, and we had neighbors over there. When we moved in, we could see 29, whereas now we just saw houses. And so, I mean, that whole area just, it blew up faster than anybody thought.
I have a good friend of mine. We have a friend, Fernando. He lives on that neighborhood that by the the new bridge that they new. Everything is new right there because they're 183A, right? And there is already there's a huge area there, and he lives on that neighborhood. Just before the 29 over there.
And again, we got to understand the size of cities, right? So look at it. I just pull up here some statistics about population in Chicago, okay? There were more people in 1920 than now in Chicago. In 1920, there were more people.
Yeah.
Right? So the peak was in the 1950s. 3.6 million, right? So they grew 570%. Okay, I won't count the 1870s, okay? But they grew consistently per decade 50, 60, 100%. So what happened in Chicago up to 1930, it's what's happening in Austin now. In the Austin area now. So if you see the numbers you can tell that, like from 1960 until now, only in the 20s, only this decade, they are growing. It's the only decade since they lost population 60s, 70s, 80s, up to 2020. It's the first decade that they are putting up numbers.
So at the rate we're going, we've got about 30 years before Austin's affordable again, basically.
Oh yeah,
because things.
It's a good way of seeing it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But that it means that the city grew.
If you want to wait to buy a house, wait 30 years.
Yeah.
Most people's mortgages will be done by then.
Exactly.
But the prices are prohibitive there too. Man, land, real estate, you buy it, you hold it.
Never goes down, does it?
Of course, there are variables that can push down the price of your property, but in general, if you can keep it, if you can make it profitable too, right? Because it's got to be profitable. It's not only the gain you have it for the appreciation of the value, but also if you can generate more income with that, right?
Sure.
Then it's worth it. I think then it's worth it.
Sure.
Doing that.
What about you, Dylan? Hiccups solved or no? Hilton, what about you?
Dylan's so excited that he's kicking.
All of your traveling across the United States, where, besides Texas, if you had to live somewhere else, where would you live?
Where would I live? I like it in here, man. I don't think I would move. Maybe I would go Arizona. I think it wouldn't be too bad, but it may be a little colder than here, right?
Yeah. Depends on where you go.
But
Arizona
I have
snows.
only seen I've never been to Arizona. I've been to Atlanta, Miami, and Orlando, of course, New York, Virginia. All of the flooring industry, the flooring industry takes me to where the flooring goes, like Vegas, trade shows.
Yeah.
Never been to California. So I've been to Chicago just to see my sister for a weekend. That the nightlife in Chicago was kind of impressive, and it's kind of like interesting. The car culture, the guys like having cars and motorcycles and stuff. But over here as well, I mean, if you go downtown to to go clubbing or something like that, right? And you see like nice cars and all of that, which is kind of, I like it, because I like cars. So even though I drive a electric vehicle, but I do like cars. And yeah, but in Chicago is very, very interesting. Miami, it's kind of overkill. North Miami is not bad, like Boca Raton,
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. It was kind of nice and interesting. You can have like boats and stuff to boat around the town. You can do everything that you do in a car, you can do on a boat over there, which is interesting. You go to the supermarket, you hop on a boat, and then you go you just navigate through the canals, and then you drop your kids to school. You go supermarket. You don't have to have a car. You can have a boat. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. So
the bay, right? So it's impressive.
Yeah. So, but I think it would be somewhere I've never been to, based on things that I've seen, scenery and stuff. I like driving through places that has nice views, and I think this center of United States would have a lot of that, because I've seen a lot of TV shows of people driving around and whatnot. So it kind of intrigues me a little bit. So I like that.
Did you say yours?
Dylan's kicking still.
Dylan, are you done yet? No.
Tell us yours.
Hilton threw in a kind of a curveball with Arizona, because northern Arizona is really beautiful. Like the Sedona area, beautiful. Scottsdale, very beautiful.
It's growing.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. Very fast.
It's very posh. It's a very rich neighborhood, but very beautiful. Honestly, I would either have to do an Arizona or Florida, but I think if I was to go to Florida, it would be Tampa.
That's a good pick.
Sarasota,
Tampa is nice.
baby.
I went to Tampa.
Sarasota.
All of the surrounding areas were really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like Tampa more than Miami, though. Tampa has like a interesting vibe to it. It's like,
well, you get a lot of the Dominican vibe, a lot of the Miami. I feel like is more mainstream.
yes,
Whereas when you get into like the Tampa area, you're getting a lot of the culture that comes from the South America, from all the Caribbean and all that.
yes, I agree, and I agree with that. And I think Miami has its own culture, but it's a different culture. Where it's like Tampa, they kind of celebrate their Latin American culture there, and it kind of spreads out. So I agree with that. Dude, little Havana downtown.
Yes.
Dude, some of the finest cigars.
I was gonna say that. So like Tampa is it's a cigar scene in the U.S. So
Ibarra.
Don't get me wrong. I would go to Miami 5-6 times a year
Oh,
for
sure.
3-4 days. I love it.
Miami's fun, absolutely.
Fun. The
It's
beaches.
just,
it's
it's very
city,
expensive.
Yes.
I remember.
and it's tiring.
Yeah.
It tires you. The city tires you.
I remember we went to Miami for one of the first times on a vacation with family, and we went to one of the main malls over there. It's a bigger mall, a lot of designer, high-end boutiques. And I told my wife, I was like, "Why are we here?" She's like, "We're just gonna window shop." I was
Yes.
like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was pretty
that's
much
all
just
you do.
window
It's just
shopping.
window shopping.
And it was my son's 16th birthday, so we were there celebrating him. He just got his first job. He had a few $100 saved up, and he went into the store and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy some shirts." Like, you're not gonna buy anything out of there.
Yeah.
And so he went in and he picked up a shirt, plain white shirt, had like one little print on it, $399.
Get the hell out of
And he
here.
was I was like, "Oh, that's not mine." And so we were walking. I was like, "Look, it's on sale." It's like, it says $899. I was like, "Yeah, it's on sale for $899, not $899." He's like, "No, I'm pretty sure it's $899." It's like, "All right, well, go ahead, go there with $20. I'll give you 20, and if it's yours, if they say it's that price, it's yours." Yeah, he walked out disappointed with nothing in his hand. So.
God, poor kid.
I know exactly the area you're talking about, because we did the little window shopping there as well. And it's like all the expensive cars just driving around very slow, because it's almost like in Europe, because the streets are narrower, bigger sidewalks. Very, very nice. Very nice.
Do you know that Brazil also has a strong connection with Miami, right? Have you ever heard of? Have you seen
Oh,
that? The culture of traveling to Miami. At certain points, people would if they get a kid, they take a container back, with products for kids, and I mean in general, like everything. So Brazilians shop, especially São Paulo. From São Paulo, they shop a lot in Miami. For them, it's really cheap.
Sure, I can see that.
For them, it's really cheap.
I'll never forget. We had a layover in Fort Lauderdale. It's Fort Lauderdale, right?
He's everywhere,
Dude. And I swear to God, there was a family of like 10 Brazilians there, but they had one of those carts that you push stuff. It was over 10 feet tall, just packed with luggage, souvenirs, stuffed animal, all of this stuff. And I go,
half a container.
Are you serious right now? And they're like, there's this old, like their old grandma's there with them, and they're just like yelling, trying to figure out like how they're gonna pay, and like put like, okay, open up your bag and put this in there and this. And I was like, Camila, I swear to God, if you do this to me,
I need some of those people to come work for me. I mean, the way they can pack a truck.
yeah,
They could. They have the experience.
And
logistics. They know logistics.
And do you know what? Florida is 6% tax rate, right, for sales tax. It's supposed to be cheap, but you go. I remember when I moved over here, gas was $1.53, and over there was like almost $3. It's like twice as much over there
for a gallon compared to a liter.
Yes, for a gallon. Like from Florida to Texas.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Texas is much cheaper.
Yes.
On gas and everything, and it's a 8.25% sales tax.
Yeah.
So the tax doesn't really say anything. It's market. You know what I mean? It's offer, whatever it is called, offer and demand, right? So
Yeah.
capitalism out there.
I know the first time that I went to Brazil. So my wife is Brazilian, and the first time that I went to Brazil, my wife wanted me to carry. I had to carry because we couldn't fit it in our luggage. One of those mops, the spray mop where you put the. So I carried. I carried it for 20 hours, all across Panama and everywhere. I carried a mop in one hand.
Pursue for happiness,
my backpack,
right?
dude.
Like his kid would carry the
with
bag
like
everywhere,
5
like,
bags.
trying to sell it.
At that time, you could do like 5 bags. It was like 2 bags, and then because my wife was pregnant, you could get another bag.
Oh.
So it was 5 bags, 5 luggages
50-pound bags,
that we just. Dude, there was so much stuff. It was so much
it's so
stuff.
stressful.
It was beyond, and I was like, if this is what it's like going to Brazil, like I don't want to do it ever again. Like it's not a vacation. I'm literally carrying.
I know.
For my mother-in-law, a mop and a pair of like brand new Nike shoes for her, like in my hand the whole trip. I was like, this is love. Here you go.
But you know what? I mean, when you look at the prices, it's not moving that's traveling, right? But it's like if you go on Nike shoes, original Nike shoes in Brazil, even though you're buying dollar and the dollar price is quite high, right? I mean, probably you're gonna have more information on that than I do, because you deal with people all the time. Like, how much is like a sports shoe, like to play tennis, if they buy in Brazil?
1,200, 1,500 reais, right?
Yeah.
Which is gonna be like $300, $400.
And over here, you can get the same shoe for how much?
99, 95,
So you
90,
still
150,
cheaper.
The top ones, then it's gonna be like $3,000.
So people go to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
$600.
Yeah, so people go. It's cheaper, so people go to Miami, like what he's saying. Even though it's more expensive, it's still cheaper than in Brazil.
Right.
And then they would buy the products to take it over, because now they're able to have a Nike shoes over there for half the price. You know what I mean? Like, or sports shoes or whatever it is. So.
Yeah.
So you said that you have to take stuff to people there. You take
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I have the rule, the 5 rules. That if the person, everybody knows that I do that, so they are very careful when they ask me anything, because I just say, no man, I can do it. The 5 things. Number 1, is it legal? Believe me, they have asked me to bring stuff that I said, man, I won't bring one peel. I won't bring absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. Is it 700% with the law together saying it's legal, okay, that's the first one. Number 2, price. Man, if I pay too much, I'll have to pay taxes on over everything I'm bringing, so, you just put like a magnifying glass on everything because you're bringing something super expensive, and it's sketchy to bring a Rolex. People, could you bring me 2 Rolex? No, I won't.
Put
bring
one on each, which
I won't
arm.
bring one.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me for 2? Right? So price. Number 3, size. Look, I travel frugally. So yes, if you pay a bag, if you pay for everything and dispatch for everything, I don't know if I have a bag to dispatch. Okay, if I don't have a bag to dispatch, no. So size, weight. It's very expensive. Every extra kilo, like a pound, is super expensive. So if it's expensive, if it's heavy, I won't take it. I won't carry for 20 hours 10 kilos more, 20 pounds more because I'm doing a favor for somebody. Then size, the last one, right, which is convenience. I want it delivered to my door. It's paid. It's paid and delivered to my door.
Yeah.
I won't go to a store. I won't buy online for you. No. You buy, deliver at my door. That product.
George, can you FaceTime me while you put on the shirt to see, because we're similar size? Okay, I want that shirt. You're not doing any of that?
Oh my God! I know.
He just needs the shoulder pads to kind of.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Wait, hold on one sec. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Turn
You know
around,
what?
let me see your. Yeah.
I know.
Man. Just hold it up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
yeah, exactly.
The 5 things. It was well thought. It was well thought. A conversation, like hours with my wife about that, and then we came up with
Next time, George, you go like, "Oh, I got a guy for you," and then you call Jose. Hey, Jose, can you ship it over to Brazil? And we're like, "Oh, I can make it work."
Exactly. Just ship it over, and that's it.
International shipping, moving is the worst thing to ever try to coordinate.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Relocation. Oh my God. Relocation.
I've done it twice because I went to UK. Well, I went to UK just suitcases.
Yeah.
But I went back to Brazil after I was married, and then so I moved the whole family, right? Well, at the time it was just me and my wife, but we moved the whole house to Brazil, and then we moved over here, and then we brought our furniture over here. So yes.
Is that something you've done, Jose, before?
For the company, no, but I have done it.
Uh-huh.
It was a learning experience. It was one of those things. We had a trusted customer use us 10, 15 times here locally. Decided to move to Mexico. We're like, yeah, we can do it, no problem. She's like, well, there's a shipping container down on the coast, down Laredo. You take it over here. You do this, you do that, load it up. We're like, all right, cool.
Sounds easy.
Yeah, sounds easy enough. We'd drive it down there, deliver it. We got down there in customs, like, well, what's in this box? Their stuff. Well, what stuff? I don't know. Their clothes. How many clothes? I don't know. Well, I need to know everything. We need a full declaration of everything. So we had to go back, unpack, repack everything. So we've got 10 shirts. We've got 15 sets of plates. This furniture piece is not allowed because it's not boxed. It has to be containerized. So now we have to take this dresser out. We have to take corrugated cardboard, build a cardboard box, secure it, and then label it, inventory it. So what was a very simple job ended up being about a 4.5-day process.
And you lose money in your first deal.
Serious?
Your first deal, you lose money. Then you learn it, and then you start charging it.
Lose would be an understatement.
Yeah. Or Jose, you ask me because I've done it. So when I moved over here, I create a packing list because that's called like, what is your packing list? And then I create a packing list. I gave it to a friend of mine who also he does international shipping. And then so I gave it to him. He was like, "You're the easiest customer ever." I was like, "I've been through this, so I know what I gotta do." And then he got it. It's like, okay, easy. And it was the simplest thing ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I knew what to do, and he also he knew. So when he said like, "I need this," and I just emailed him back. I already had it done, and then he was like, numbers on the boxes.
Yep.
On the packing list, the box number such has these. If it goes through the X-ray, it's gonna show.
Well, he said the key word, experience.
Yeah.
And whether we're talking international or moving out of your house the first time, it's one of those things that experience teaches everything. When we move a senior client, they've relocated their house, their families, minimum 3, 4, 5 times throughout their lifetime. versus the first time you move out of your parents' house and you're, going to college for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
When you moved out of your, first time for college, nothing's packed. You thought, everything fits in this one box. Hey, we're good. Whereas, 30 years down the line, you've got everything well containered. You've got rid of everything. You've purged through the stuff you don't want to pay to move. So experience, as you said, plays a vital role in logistics for relocation.
Yeah.
And we are even talking about the elephant in the room, which is everything for that person is precious. Everything is precious. Like what dish, man? A dish that person has never touched in Brazil or whatever. Then you break it. Oh my God! You broke that glass. That glass. Whatever it's from. It was from this and this and that. And like they made up stories because, of course, there is an emotional attachment to the things you bring. So, and this is horrible.
And then you see the Goodwill sticker for $1.99 on the bottom side.
Exactly. Yeah, but it wasn't. It isn't about the money.
Yeah.
The enjoyment it brought me.
Exactly. You're never gonna be able to reproduce that. Never.
There's monetary value, there's physical value, and there's sentimental value. And two of those I can help out. The third one, I can't touch that one.
What has been your worst experience as far as moving? Like a complete horror story where you're like, I don't know how much longer I can do this because I'm just about ready to quit.
Hoarders.
Really?
We've all seen the A&E TV show Hoarders.
Yeah.
Pictures don't really do
amazing.
justice. You can't smell what you're watching on TV.
Oh, dude.
You can't feel and have that dust going into your nose and your crevices.
The details.
On your TV.
Wow.
That's just one of those things. When you walk into a house that mentally, and sometimes there are mental things that are going on that you sympathize for them. You want to do your best. And I remember this one time, and going to what you said, we pulled into the house. I'll back up. We went, 30, 45 minutes before that. Truck breaks down. It's raining. It was hell getting to the job.
Perfect storm, of situations.
So, finally, hour and a half, 2 hours there, we finally get to the job.
When it rains, it pours.
100%. And so you walk in, and before you even get to the front doorstep, you just get this ammonia smell, and it's like, what is going on? Senior client, 75, 80 years old. Already knew the backstory. Husband's passed, kids have passed. Going through just every turmoil and bad storm in life that you could deal with.
Cleanliness is not the priority.
It's not even anywhere on the list.
Yes.
It's not there. And you walk in, and she's like, "Well, mind the mess. I'm sorry. We're trying." Okay, going through, and we start moving things out. And I remember I pulled the dolly out from underneath the boxes, and I saw a puddle of water on our metal dolly blade. It was sunny where we were at. It was raining over here where we were going through. It was sunny where we were at. So I was like, well, is there a leak in the trailer? So we're looking in the trailer. We're walking through. Nothing in the trailer. It's still dry as we can get through here. We go back into the house, and I try to reposition the dolly blade. And as I pulled the dolly blade out, you look, and you saw puddles on the whole, you had a flood on the water, and you put wet boxes, their cardboard, their paper.
Yeah.
It's just soaking up. She'd been packing for 2 weeks. Well, that was urine from the animals, the cats, whatever else that was there. They were just soaking up to the boxes, and it was like, okay, how much more can we deal with? We picked up the couch, beautiful leather couch, and we went sideways to get it out the door. How we usually carry, urine just flowed down the whole back of it, and I was like,
no,
I'm done. I'm sorry. I can't do this. I can't subject myself to this. I can't subject my guys to this.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest conversation you have to have. This isn't quite our cup of tea.
You learned.
Yes.
It hurt. It hurt. You learned. And now, if there is something like this, you will charge accordingly. You will get, okay, you see, I have to spend $1,000 only in garments and protections to use that, and I can do it.
Right.
But it's going to cost you an extra $1,000.
Well, I think that was the thing is that, going into it, we didn't know any better. So it's like, I don't want to put my pads on your furniture. I don't want to break your grandma's fine china and, china cabinet, everything else. I'm not in the business of damaging things, but I also don't want to put my pad on here. I don't even want to put it in my truck. So what's the healthy medium here? So to go back to, that, that's probably that learning experience. So now going into it, had I known, all right, here's what we're going to do. It's going to cost me an extra $500 in cleaning. It's going to cost me another $500 to incentivize my guys or whatever.
And your
be.
team is gonna be so pissed with you.
Until they get their paycheck, and even then, probably still mad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember when I had to move my aunt. She lost her house and she was moving from a small little house. She was very similar, hoarding, just tons of stuff. And I remember we did it with her. It was like me, my dad, my grandparents, and just other things. And I remember my mom was there. She had a cardboard box. She went into the kitchen. She just looked. She was like, "Where do I begin?" Because it's just.
I was just about to ask
it's just
you. I was
stuff
picturing
like,
you.
You know, loaded like this. And my grandpa goes like, "Hold open that box," and he just goes and just throws all of it into the box. And he goes,
Microphone.
he just like put some tape on it and write shit on it and throw it in the truck. He's like, just get all of this shit out of this house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it is. It's just an accumulation. I mean, it was literally like not alcohol bottles, but just like just like random stuff that they had on the table. And my mom's like, do I throw any of this away? Do I keep it? Like, what is trash? What isn't? My grandpa's like, fucking hold open that box. Here we go. It's going. It's all going into this box. And we did that to the whole house. It was like, your dresser, okay.
So I mean, I'm assuming you're military.
Yeah.
I'm third generation mover. My father was military. My grandfather was military. So long line of movers and military.
Yeah.
And so we learned a lot of that. You know, from the moving side, everything has sentimental value. You can't price that. So this whole table for us on a professional side, if you told me, hey, I need you to move this, I would have to come in and pack all of this, wrap every single thing, wrap this. And then so on the backside as a shipper, as the military family that was receiving stuff, it's like, Dad, why is my toothbrush in the same box as my trash can, the same box as my toys?
Yeah.
Well, son, you didn't pack it. We didn't pack it. So then going into it in the professional side, it's like, you know, it was just this mental block of like, okay, I know this is trash. Do I pack it?
Right.
You know, my personal side is like, I shouldn't pack this. But my professional side is like, well, they could say this was my grandma's favorite liquor bottle that she gave me when she was 10 years old.
Right.
Fuck. All right, well, I guess I'm going to pack it. So.
You pack it.
Yep.
Yeah, incredible. That's interesting.
And
How busy are you?
Right now, we're very busy.
Well, summer months, usually a lot of people, yeah.
Sure. I mean, May, I take it back. I'd say probably like spring break. Spring break is usually that, you know, lights start flickering in the house telling you, hey, start getting ready. It's time to start waking up.
Yeah.
And usually about Mother's Day, that first couple of weeks of May is when it really starts getting going. Everybody knows end of school year is coming up. And that'll last all the way through end of August, beginning of September. So, I mean, those are our key 5-6 months of, you know, bread and butter, make your money and make it count.
Right.
Central Texas in general is still pretty good. We're fortunate to have a great client base, a great referral base through between NIA, BNI, and networking channels that they really, really keep us afloat, even in the leaner months when traditionally we're not busy.
Yeah, we're gonna
That's
have to
cool.
ramp up because we have a few things to go through to keep on the time. But I want to ask you, and I would like you to talk a little bit on it. I know, George. Sorry, we got Jose back again. Jose has a great work ethic, right? And just tell us the growth that you have accomplished in the last 2 years, please.
So
It's awesome.
I started our business in 2021. I was still the GM of another moving company, another bigger company. I officially left in 23. So if you say my first official date of inception being in 23, I started with zero money in my bank account, actually negative money in my bank account. Our first year, we were about 120,000 in revenue. Last year, we closed our books out at 504,000, and we are projecting about 850 this year.
Gosh,
Wow.
man.
You see?
Good for you. That's awesome.
Isn't it great?
Depending on us, that's just gonna grow, man.
Yeah.
Because we know how important the service is.
Sure.
I understand the value of the service because I've moved. I've lived in like 20 houses, so I know the value of moving. You know, I don't know how much people comprehend, truly understand. That's you know, I think when they are older, they do.
Well,
So
and to
you
put
sell
that,
that.
Yeah.
Put that in perspective. I have 5 kids. My youngest is 6 now. So our last move with my wife had our baby 2 weeks prior to us closing. I knew closing was coming up. I was still the GM of the company, and I told the boss, I will pay full price.
Mhm.
I don't want a discount, but I don't want to touch anything. Yes, I've done this for 20 years, but emotionally, physically, mentally, I cannot do it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't afford it at the time, but it was still the best money ever spent.
You know, and Jose, this we said this the last time we just recently moved into a new house, and as we're doing it, because I've always relied on my dad. My dad's always helped, you know, and family has always been there to help and stuff like that. Anything that's happening, hey,
I've
family's
helped
there.
you move.
Hilton's helped. Like it's always been like friends and family.
He probably
coming
didn't know
together.
me at the time, so
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yes,
the
exactly.
thing.
And no, before this last house you were at, I helped you move from the apartment
other
to
was-
the other one.
To the other house, yes, you did. He was the only one that showed up to help. So, thanks, Hilton.
No,
Appreciate it.
there's more people there.
A couple others, but
A couple of others, yeah.
yeah. So, but after this last move, we all stopped and we're like, last time. It's literally the last time, and I've done this since I've grown up. I mean, I've lived in hundreds of different houses. I've always been moving and like helping people move and stuff like that. It's not a big deal. This last one, I was like, I'm just gonna pay for someone to do it. Like I'm done.
my aunt in San Antonio, she called me and she was like, "Hey, mijo, I know you have a moving company. Can you come here?" And it's like, I don't really have the time, but I probably could. It's like, call a mover. Here's this number. Let me know what it costs, and I'll happily pay. Like at a certain point, there's value to your time, to your efforts, everything going
Yep.
into it. Moving is one of the most stressful things you're going to deal with in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so now, even as a moving company owner, I probably don't want my guys in my house dealing with my, dirty secrets, as we all know that we have.
Yes.
I'd probably still pay one of my other partner moving companies, like, "Hey, I'm moving. Send your guys, move my shit."
Yes, sir.
But do you understand that he went from like in 3 years, right, from zero, and then accomplishing negative. Well, let's call it zero, right,
Yeah.
because it's starting. So the birth of the business, for the first year 140 to now, projected this year 850, which is like 5 times, right? It's just unbelievable, man. Congratulations. It's
you.
beautiful.
That's
It's
really
beautiful.
cool, man.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I think you sell peace of mind.
Yeah.
Everything should be connected to that. I think your advertisement should be connected to peace of mind. It should be connected to mental health more than I help you move. No, I help you keep your sanity. Right? So something like that.
I help you keep your
Do
marriage.
you have the energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the money? Do you have the time? Because sometimes you have the money, but you don't have the time. Sometimes you have the time and you don't have the money, right?
Yeah.
So how do you? The price is in the value.
Will you give me some ideas for my next TikTok and Facebook Reels and
I
videos,
do.
all
We
that?
can,
Yeah.
we can do that for
Yeah.
sure. It will be fun.
Let's rock.
On this area, right?
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for the fantastic podcast. Jose, you got to come back. I mean, sorry, George.
No, but I kind of
I told you that I bring cool people over here.
Yeah. You got to come back and do this
Yeah,
again, Jose.
Yeah, I've had a good time. Thanks for having me. I'd love to come back.
Of
Thank you.
course.
love the flow, love the vibe.
Yeah, thank you.
Subscribe.
Like, comment.
Hit the notification there.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.